So I'm here at the American Cemetery in Normandy. This cemetery is not far at all from the beach itself. I'm on the outer perimeter. When I was on the other side, you could see the beach, and I'll try to get that on camera also. One of my main objectives on this whole trip was to come out here and see the cemetery. I had two uncles that actually were on the D-Day beaches on June 6th. My Uncle Anthony Romeo was a medic. He got actually wounded on that very day and was sent to a hospital ship, and then got reconstituted back in for a second Purple Heart, a second wound. My uncle Michael Antonucci was an infantryman who survived the beaches and went on through to help liberate France. When my Uncle Tony passed away, my Uncle Mike passed away first, his son, Michael Antonucci Jr., called me. And at the time I was active duty Air Force, and he asked if I could present the flag to his mom, fold the flag, and I said absolutely. He had passed away in Southern California, and I was at March Air Force Base, but at that moment, it was Christmas time. My Uncle Mike passed away on Christmas Day, and I was up in Seattle area visiting some family on my wife's side. So we cut that trip short and we came down, and it's a huge honor to be asked to fold and present a flag for any veteran, whether they're a family member or not. At the end of the ceremony, they do a 21 gun salute, and it's with blanks, with ceremonial rifles. They gather the shells, and what they do is that they try to give at least 3 to the family members that represent the 3 volleys. 7 rifles times 3, 21 gun salute. And the same thing followed with my Uncle Tony's funeral. When that time had come, I got that call from his son, my cousin John Romeo, asked me the same thing, and I absolutely, yeah, I'll do that. So I had the honor of folding my uncle's flags while I was still active duty Air Force, presenting them. Now, those that don't know me, I'm wearing my Army hat because I did serve in the Army for 8 years prior to switching over to the Air Force, and I was a paratrooper for my first 8 years of service. But I did both the flag ceremonies, and I collected shells from each of the volleys. Now what I got one shell from each of them right now with me. These were the shells that, some of them from the 21 gun salute. One from my Uncle Tony's funeral, one from my Uncle Mike's funeral. And I'm trying to find a good spot to place them. I was gonna put them on the beach in Omaha, just bury them in the sand. But I'd like to find a place here in the cemetery amongst their friends. Now you can't go, there's a cord here. I don't know if you can see it, but you can't walk within like you see in Saving Private Ryan when they're just walking through. Maybe, I just dropped one. Maybe if you have a family member or you go to the visitor's office, you can actually walk amongst the crosses themselves. Oh, let me flip this around. I want to show you guys something interesting that I've been seeing. Here you have majority of them are Christian crosses and representing Christian and Protestant faiths, Catholics. But you will see a few of the Stars of David representing the Jewish soldiers that perished here in Normandy. Most of these, I guarantee all these men that died, I'm 54 right now, and they were a lot younger than that, probably a lot younger than the age of 30. You know, I did 32 years in the military, and I can't equate those 32 years to the 32 minutes or even 32 seconds that many of these men had here until they met their final fate. Even if you survived that day, like my Uncle Tony and Uncle Mike, the 32 minutes that they endured, it just must have been so life-changing, so traumatic. It's just, you can watch all the movies you want and hear the stories, but to live it has got to be something unbelievable. But I'll get back with you guys when I find out where I'm going to put these shells. Kind of didn't want to just leave them on the beach. I think it would be actually kind of nice for them to remain here. And I guarantee you, if I was able to walk amongst these crosses, I guarantee you that there are names on these crosses that both my uncles very well probably served with and knew, especially my one uncle being a medic during the time. Even my Uncle Tony, I'm sorry, my Uncle Tony and Uncle Mike having guys from their squads and their platoons perish. I don't know how they would feel if they were ever had the opportunity to come back and visit themselves. I think it'd be a hard thing to do, but I think that that's something that they may have thought about in their years after. This is a good angle to show you how close we are to the water. So here's the cemetery, and then there's a hill that goes down, and then there's the beaches right there. I'm just looking at how deep the rows go. Also, one thing I was going to point out on the bottom is their service numbers. If you can see that one, I'll get a closer one. You know, one thing I gotta say, it's so uniformed. I mean, it looks like they're all like, I mean, I know it's got to be this way, but with my mind and how I'm thinking, it's like they're formed up in formation, or they're in motion, they're moving, they're advancing, you know, it's as if they're standing there, you know, forever, eternity, just here where they fell, but they're guarding it themselves. It's just a very impressive environment. Like I said, I don't know if I said in this video, I apologize for repeating myself, but I have been to Arlington. But when you think about Arlington, I mean, that's just multiple decades with multiple wars from people from Americans all over the country. This is bulkily from one day, June 6th. I'm walking towards the beach. I'll get back to this memorial later, but I wanted to just kind of capture it from a distance. It's opposite of where the crosses are. Okay, this is the perspective I wanted to give you. So that's Omaha Beach right there. That's Omaha. And then there's an embankment. So there's the beach, the hill they came up, and then here's the cemetery. Now, not all of them died exactly on June 6th, maybe June 7th, June 8th, a lot of them June 6th, and not all of them came on the landing craft. Some of these guys were actually paratroopers that landed in and got killed behind the beach line. You know, I realized I said Omaha. That might have been Utah, but nonetheless, that's one of the beaches. I got my logistics messed up, but that's either Omaha or Utah. And then further down there is the other beach, and I believe Pointe du Hoc is behind me somewhere. That I'm not going to. I will find that today. There's a very interesting wall here where it goes through, and it has, I don't know if it's all their names, but it's pretty vast. So if you can't get to the crosses and you're looking for somebody, kind of like the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C., you might be able to find them along this wall somewhere.
John R. Hale, Kenneth H. Olson, Jeff W. Petrick, William H. Bowker,